ask if anybody knows what these are. What is it? It's magic, right? How many people have seen a magic show? They're pretty amazing, aren't they? Huh? Did you ever see a magic show? And when they do their magic, what do we usually say?
Abracadabra.
Well, he says abracadabra. Yeah. Okay. So he does the trick, okay? And then you go, oh, what do you say? How did he ever do that? Right? Don't you say that? Because doesn't it seem like when they do magic that it's something you can't figure out how it happened? Right? But it was a trick because magicians know how to do magic. And they could even teach you the trick if they wanted to. But many times they don't want to teach you the trick, right? So magic is something that happens that we can't explain, but if we really look at it, we'd be able to explain it. I want to talk to you about miracles. Has everybody ever heard of a miracle? Yeah? A miracle is like magic because we don't know how it happens. It's something that happens that we don't expect. But miracles have something different, and that is God is acting in the miracle. Okay? So there's lots of different miracles. Do you know any miracles? Can you think of what some people say, and I think this is true, when a baby's born, it's a miracle. Because new life comes, and that's pretty spectacular, right? There are different things that are miracles. We say that Christmas is a miracle because God becomes Jesus, becomes a little baby, and is born in a manger for us. And we say that's a miracle because God becomes a human person just like us. So there's a lot of miracles around Christmas. People talk about Christmas miracles. And I want to share with you one of these Christmas miracles. And it is the legend of the poinsettia. Do you know this story? You saw this in the library. This is a legend, and this book was written by the author of this book. His name is Tommy DePaulo. And you know where he lived when he was a little boy? Right in Meriden, right next door to us, the town right near us. So he's a local person, and he wrote this book. And I'm going to share this with you this evening, okay? So this is The Legend of the Poinsettia. This is a story about a little girl. Her name is Lucida. Lucida lived in a small village in the mountains of Mexico. She lived there with her mama, her papa, and her brother and sister, Paco and Lupe. And they had a donkey whose name was Pepito. And her job was to feed Pepito and clean out his stall every day. At home, Lucida also helped her mom. She helped her in the kitchen, and she helped her make tortillas for dinner. She took care of her brother and sister, Paco and Lupe, and each evening they would go out where there was a statue of Mary, Jesus' mom, and they would put candles by the statue. But every day wasn't work day. On Sundays, the family went to church. And that was the church in the square, and the priest there was Padre Alvarez. And everybody in the village would walk to church in a procession. And throughout the year, there were many holy days and fiestas, and everybody in town would get together, light candles, and walk to the church. And see everybody walking to the church? Now, one day, very close to Christmas, Padre Alvarez came to Lucida's house. He said to her mama, I wonder if you could make a blanket for the figure of baby Jesus that we're going to put in the manger. Because the blanket we've been using is very old, and it doesn't look very good. Would you make a new one? And Lucida's mother said, of course, I would love to make a new one. And Lucida can even help me make it. So on Saturday, Lucida and her mama went to the market, and they went to go buy the best wool they could find. And then they took it home, and Lucida and her mama were starting to weave first they had to color the wool all the different colors, and then they were starting to weave this blanket. See how they're starting to weave the blanket with all the different colors? Now, as Christmas got closer, everyone in the village was very, very busy. The mamas were busy because they were making gifts that the people would bring to the manger, to baby Jesus. Everybody brought a gift to baby Jesus. So the mamas were making the gifts, and the papas were making the manger for the baby. So Lucida and the other children would go to church, and they would practice singing, because they had a big Christmas Eve procession, and all the children would sing, carrying candles. That's like we do, right? We sing. Yeah, Lucida and the kids were singing. So everybody, so here they are singing and preparing. So once inside the church, Padre Alvarez would bring the baby to the manger, and then everybody would bring their gifts. And Lucida was very excited because her mama was making a special blanket for baby Jesus. But one afternoon, a few days before Christmas, Lucida and the children were singing in the church, and Senor Gomez came and said, "Lucida, you have to go home right away. Your mama is sick, and your papa has taken her to the doctor. You need to go and take care of your brother and sister." Well, Lucida got very afraid because her mama had never been sick before. So she went right home, and there she found her brother and sister crying because they were worried about their mama. So Lucida tried to comfort them. That evening, when her papa came home, he said to Lucida, "Lucida, mama's going to be away for a while because she's sick. So your Tia Carmen's going to come and take care of you. But she can't come till after Christmas. So in the meantime, Senor Gomez is going to take you and Paco and Lupe to church on Christmas Eve." So the next afternoon, Lucida overheard two women talking. I'm sorry, when she got home, okay. So the next afternoon, Lucida overheard two women talking. Lucida's mama is ill. That means that the blanket is not going to be done for baby Jesus. Too bad Padre Alvarez will have to use the old one because there won't be a new blanket. Well, Lucida felt really, really bad that there wasn't going to be a blanket to give to baby Jesus. So she went home and she looked at the unfinished blanket. So Lucida said, maybe I could work on the blanket. And so she tried. But look what happened. She messed it up. She didn't really know how to do it, and she ruined the blanket, and she felt really bad. So she went to Senor Gomez and said, "Can you fix it for me?" She said, "No, Lucida, it's ruined. We can't fix it. But that's okay. We'll go to the procession anyway." So Lucida started to cry. She said her family would not have a gift to give to baby Jesus. She felt really, really bad. And she felt like she ruined Christmas and she ruined the blanket. So Senor Gomez took Paco and Lupe to the procession, and she started saying, "Okay, Lucida, where are you?" They couldn't find Lucida. She was hiding. She felt so bad she didn't want to go with her brother and sister to the procession. So she stayed behind and walked by herself. From the shadows, Lucida watched everybody else in the procession. The candles were lit, the singing began, and the villagers were all walking to church. They were all carrying gifts for baby Jesus. But Lucida was walking in the darkness all by herself and had nothing for the baby. All of a sudden she heard somebody say, "Lucida, hello, are you Lucida?" And she said, "Yeah." She said, "I have a message for you." And this old woman came out from the darkness and the shadows and said, "Don't worry, your mama's going to be fine." She'll be home soon. So now you go to the procession with your brother and sister. They're waiting for you. But Lucita said, I can't go. I don't have anything to give to baby Jesus. I can't. Mama and I were making this beautiful blanket, but I couldn't finish it and I messed it up. I tried, but it got all tangled. Oh, Lucia, any gift is beautiful because it is given by you, the old woman said. Whatever you give, the baby Jesus will love it because it comes from you. But what can I give, she said. She saw a batch of tall green weeds growing up in the tangles nearby. Lucita rushed over and picked up the weeds and carried them in her arms. Do you think these would be okay, she asked the old lady. But the woman was gone. She disappeared as fast as she came. Lucita walked into church. It was blazing with candlelight and the children were singing, and she walked quietly down the aisle with a bunch of green weeds in her hands. What is Lucia carrying? Someone said. Why is she bringing weeds into the church? Lucita reached the manger scene. She placed the green weeds around the stable. Then she lowered her head and she said a prayer. All of a sudden, everybody in the church said, what happened? Look at the weeds. Lucia opened her eyes and she looked up, and each weed was tipped with a flaming red star. The manger glowed and shimmered as if there were 100 candles. And when everyone went outside after church, all the clumps of tall green weeds throughout the whole town were shining with these red stars. Lucia's simple gift had indeed become beautiful. And now, every Christmas to this day, the red stars shine on top of the green branches in Mexico. The people call the plants La Flor de Nochebuena, the flower of the holy night, the poinsettia. How about that? Was that something? Have you ever heard that story before? No, I didn't either. This was the first time I saw it. So Lucita was a little girl who was very excited about Christmas. And why was she excited about Christmas? Right, for baby Jesus. She was really excited that she was going to help her, right? And then what happened?
She messed it up.
Well, first, what happened? She did mess it up, you're right. But what happened before that? Her mother got sick. You know, sometimes when we're really looking forward to something happens and it kind of spoils it a little bit. We get sad. Yeah, she was pretty sad, wasn't she? And then she tried to fix it, right? She tried to do it herself. And what happened?
She messed it up.
She messed it up, yeah. But she tried, didn't she? Yeah. But in the end, what did she learn in the end? What did she do? She was looking for something to give baby Jesus, right? And she couldn't find anything, right? She didn't have anything. So she took weeds. And what happened to the weeds? They turned into beautiful flowers, didn't they? Yeah, they did. That's the miracle. It's a miracle. Because she didn't do it, right? The people didn't do it. It was a miracle. It's one of those Christmas miracles. But the thing that the lady said to her was, remember the old lady said, it doesn't matter what you give, you have to give something from you, right? You have to give something from your heart. And that was from her heart. So this Christmas, when you look at these flowers, and they're all over the place, aren't they? You remember the miracle of the poinsettia and what happened, okay? Do you have poinsettias at your house?
Yes.
Okay, so you can remember right at your house, right? And tell that story to somebody else, all right? All right, we'll go back to your seat.